What's up, beautiful people? It is your girl, Avery Woodley. Welcome to my channel, Same Team, where we win together or lose apart. If you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that button. And I would also like it if you could share this video, comment, all that good stuff for those of you guys that are returning. Hello, and welcome back. Let's get right into it. All right. So I have a review, or what you guys would call a reaction video. It's been a while. This is based on a sit-down, a conversation between Shan Boody and Rachel Lindsey, the former Bachelorette, and it was titled, "Our Sex Life is Not What You Would Expect," okay? And that is coming from the former Bachelorette, Rachel Lindsey. There's a lot to unpack with this conversation, and I just wanted to touch on it because I could really go in depth, but I would love to bring other people on here to hear from them. But I'm going to give it to you guys. I'm going to give it to you real, all right? So I watched the video probably 3 or 4 times, which is a lot. I usually don't watch a video that I'm reviewing that many times, but this one, it was kind of hidden, right? Some of the things were hidden that I was looking for, and I wanted to make sure that, I was correct on what I was feeling, right? Not necessarily what I was hearing or seeing, but what I was feeling. I will drop the link below so you guys can go ahead and check that out if you would like, because I've had some people reach out to me. They're like, hey, what are your thoughts on that conversation? And look, when you watch it, it seems like an open, honest conversation, right? I do definitely applaud them. That space feels like a safe space. Both of the ladies were relaxed and comfortable, and you could tell it was just a place where you could just kind of like open up, be vulnerable, and all of that. And so I'm not speaking on that. Rachel was talking about, her sex life, the marriage, a little bit of what happens on The Bachelorette and all of that kind of stuff. But and the comments are like, yes, we applaud you, right? We applaud a woman being able to talk about her sexuality, her as a sexual being, what she feels like, what she doesn't feel like, and all of that. And we know this, okay? We know that sex in marriage and in relationships, sometimes you don't feel like doing it, right? You're not always going to be like, yes, let's go have sex, okay? But what is important, right, is that sex does matter. Sex is an important part of a healthy, loving relationship, okay? And Rachel's stance was basically that I summed up from the whole video was she's extremely tired. It's not that she is not attracted to her husband, but she is extremely tired and she just does not feel like having sex, right? She was saying that, on the show, that it's like, some people kind of like play up the sex. And then she was also speaking as an African-American woman, that sometimes we are seen, as sexual beings and we're over-sexualized and all of that. I get that. But now let's just talk about Western women, right? Just women in general. So here you have a woman who is obviously focused on her career, and she is career-driven. She is newly married, and she's just sitting there. She's like, I don't feel like having sex. I'm tired. I have been, I'm pulled in a lot of directions. I'm attracted to my husband, but I don't feel like having sex. And as you watch it, and if you look at some of the comments, like I said, a lot of people are applauding because it appears on the surface level, it appears that she is being very open and vulnerable and saying like, yes, I am a woman that is about my career and I'm this, and this. But when I get home, and in the bedroom, I kind of want to be submissive. She even went on a retreat where her husband joined her, and she really kind of sat with herself. And it was a time where she thought that they would be able to connect in a sexual way, and they ended up not doing it. And it appears, like I said, it appears to be a space where you're like, yes, that's good. You should be able to talk about not wanting to have sex and being too tired or being whatever. And it's in a safe place and you're not going to be judged. The problem is this. We all have roles and responsibilities and duties that we have to fulfill. Okay. It was a lot of what she wasn't saying. I kind of felt like she was trying. She's a very intelligent woman, right? I felt like she was trying to give everyone enough without really telling the truth. Okay. And I looked up other interviews from her and articles, and, she had wrote a book and everything like that. And she even mentioned in one of them, what kind of like touched on the fact that she wants people to know who she is, right? Because now a lot of people just refer to her as the Bachelorette, right? Before that, she was an independent woman. She's educated, career-driven, career-focused. So now it's kind of like, oh, the Bachelorette Rachel Lindsey. I feel like she wants to make sure that she does not lose her identity as an educated, independent woman. Here's the problem. You are now a wife. You have a responsibility inside the home. And like I said a few minutes ago, sex matters. Sex is important. And it's not just for the man, right? But if you were intimate with your man, with your husband, this is your husband, right? We're not talking about you just being out there with other men. Your husband has needs. If you meet his needs, that encourages him to continue to meet your needs. If you find yourself at a point to where you are giving most of yourself to your career, to your fans, to your image, and when you hit that doorstep and you come into the home, you cannot disconnect from your masculine. You cannot take the pants off, literally and figuratively, okay? You cannot take the pants off and meet the needs of your husband. That is a problem. And like I said, nobody's expecting her to be some wild porn star and to do all of these crazy things every day. Men get tired and women get tired. But like I had a conversation and a guy said, he was like, but oftentimes men still do what they're supposed to do. They still try to show up and please their woman in some sort, right? It is a give and take. And men are sexual beings. It is important for men to be pleased. It is important for them to be wanted. Not necessarily by the masses, but when you're in a loving, committed relationship, when you are in a marriage, it is important that you feel like your spouse wants you, that you feel like your spouse desires you. It is extremely important. And like I said, if she is finding herself, it seems to be she is finding herself trying to make sure she doesn't lose her identity and her image of, an independent, career-driven woman. And no, I don't want to be labeled just the bachelorette, right? So she's showing up for work and showing up for all these assignments, but then she's not showing up for her husband. And it is okay, but when it becomes a norm and you are newly married, you guys are only within I think they're within the first couple of years of their marriage, right? It is too new to already be disconnected and feeling like, I just don't want to have sex. Okay. Shan mentioned, what about other stuff, right? There's more to sex than the actual act. What about that? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that either. So what is that telling your husband? How does he actually feel? And then as you're out here talking about it, is he feeling shame? So because he still wants it, even though you say you're tired and all of this, because he still wants it, does he feel shamed and like he's the guilty party because he still wants you to please him in that way? He still wants you to perform in some sort. And here's the thing. In relationships and in marriage, we all have to make a sacrifice. We all have to compromise. I'm sure there are many times that men don't want to provide. They don't want to protect. They just want to sit up and do absolutely nothing, but they're still expected to do it. And it's okay. It is okay for them to be tired and for us to still want them to take care of home and fulfill their roles, responsibilities, and their duty as a husband. But as soon as they say, well, hey, I need some, you know what I'm saying? I need some attention. I need some affection. I need some of that. I want to feel my wife. I need that release. It's like, we easily dismiss their needs and wants. And when we do that, it starts to pile up. Okay. And I'm not saying that us withholding from a man is going to necessarily force him to find pleasure in other ways, but it definitely low-key forces him to almost, right? They can only go without so much. They are sexual beings. Women are sexual beings, right? When you are aligned, when the right man and the right woman are aligned, it encourages and benefits both of them. It is a mutually beneficial give and take relationship. And yes, you may not feel like doing it, but do it. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt you. If anything, it is going to help you and it is going to help your relationship. As we have more career-driven women, right? And just black, white, it doesn't matter. In our society, a lot of us are focused on other things. But here's the thing. And I used to think we could have it all, but you technically can't completely have it all, right? Something is going to suffer. Prime example, if you are a wife and if you are a mother and if you work outside the home, right? There are going to be times, say you have a project at work, right? There are going to be times that you may have to work late. You may miss the kids' practice. You may come home late and your husband's already asleep and you miss that. Every once in a while, that's okay. But when it becomes a norm, right? And you find yourself as the woman showing up for work, showing up for others, showing up for your staff or whatever, and your presence in the home is null and void, that is a problem, because home, it sounds cliche, is where the heart is. That is your foundation, okay? There are going to be times that you may have a sick kid, right? And you have to tend to them and nurture to them, and you may miss work. It's always going to be a sacrifice, and something is always going to take a hit. But the primary thing is, and the primary goal should be making sure that your home life is taken care of. But if you find yourself having this pattern, right, where you do not want to have sex, and it comes off, yes, your husband is going to feel rejected, because like, oh, look, my wife is right here and she doesn't want me. It's not enough if other women see me and they want me. My wife doesn't want me. And Rachel must remember, she chose him. She gave him the rose, or whatever happens in the Bachelorette. I don't watch it. She chose him. She said, I wanted to be married. I wanted to be a wife. If you wanted to be married and you wanted to be a wife, you're going to have to put out. Point blank, period. And guess what? You're going to have to put out sometimes what you don't necessarily feel like. You're going to have to put out in other ways. You're going to have to make sure that your man is pleased, because what you're doing is you're leaving a crack in the window, a crack in the door for other opportunities to come in or for him to go out. You're making it a little bit easier, because nobody wants to be in a relationship, in a marriage, where they don't feel wanted. Okay. I'm speaking from experience. Women, when we withhold sex, it is not a good thing. And I am not saying if you're tired, I am not saying if you're tired, I'm not saying that like you can't be tired. You can't be exhausted. You know what I'm saying? Your body can't be sore or whatever. That is totally okay, but not all the time. Suck it up. Not all the time. Because if you're tired, you're showing up for work. If you're tired, she's on the rig. You could be, you're on the red carpet interviewing people. You're writing a book. You're not that tired. Okay. You're not too tired to connect with your husband. And I'm saying this, I'm going to keep stressing it, especially for people who are newly married and like they don't have kids yet. Whatever the issue is with that, whether it's fertility or whatever, but right now, there's no kids in the picture. You should be doing it almost everywhere, in every in every position, in every room. This is the time to strike when the iron's hot. And then, yes, if you bring kids into the picture or whatever, if you're busy with travel and work, you can even schedule it. And I don't necessarily mean right on the calendar and it has to be done right at that time, but be intentional. If you are intentional with your self-care, if you are intentional with writing that book, if you're intentional with sitting down and doing interviews and book tours and going to work, then you need to be intentional and make connecting with your husband a primary focus, because like I said, sex matters. It is important. Women cannot constantly come up with these excuses and expect for our men to be pleased and to constantly meet our needs when we are failing to meet their needs.